In the bustling metropolis of Neo-Sydney, where skyscrapers stretched like titans towards the heavens and neon lights painted the night in vibrant hues, Leon, a 22-year-old medical student, was navigating his way home through less traveled paths. The city, alive with the hum of hovercars and the distant murmur of nightlife, seemed a separate universe from the dark alley Leon found himself in, a shortcut he regretted taking. As he hurried through the shadows, a faint moaning drew his attention. It was coming from behind a stack of discarded tech parts, a common sight in the alleyways of the tech district. Curiosity piqued and a touch of concern etching his heart, Leon approached cautiously. Hidden beneath the debris was a figure unlike any he had ever seen. The creature, evidently alien, possessed a sleek, iridescent skin that shimmered even in the dim light, marred by deep gashes and seeping wounds. It was humanoid but slender, with delicate features that seemed both ancient and childlike. Startled by its beauty and obvious distress, Leon knelt beside her. "Please, help me," the creature whispered in a strained but clear English, her eyes, large and luminous, locking onto his with an intensity that rooted him to the spot. "Okay, I'm here to help," Leon responded, his voice steadier than he felt. Medical training kicked in as he assessed her injuries. She was bleeding, but the color was wrong, a vivid cobalt blue. Remembering his xenobiology classes, he recognized it as a sign of arterial flow in many known alien species. With gentle hands, he cleaned her wounds using his jacket sleeve and applied pressure to the worst bleeding areas. "What happened to you?" he asked, looking around nervously. The alley felt suddenly too quiet, too isolated. "Attacked. Lost. I hide," she managed between shallow breaths. "I'm going to move you somewhere safe to my place. It's not far. Can you walk if I help?" Leon asked, scanning her body for signs of injuries that might prevent her from moving. She nodded weakly, and with great care, Leon helped her to her feet. Supporting her slight weight against his side, they made their way out of the alley. Leon kept his senses alert for any sign of danger, a protective instinct flaring within him. The creature's trust, so fragile and vital, felt like a weighty treasure bestowed upon him. As they reached his small hover car parked on a nearby street, Leon helped her into the passenger seat, strapping her in securely. He slid into the driver's seat, his mind racing with thoughts of what medical supplies he had at home. Would they even be adequate for her physiology? "Thank you, human," she murmured, her voice laced with pain and relief. "Leon," he corrected gently, starting the engine. "My name is Leon." As the hover car lifted off the ground and merged into the nocturnal traffic of Neo-Sydney, Leon felt the enormity of his decision to help this mysterious alien. Little did he know this fateful encounter was just the beginning of an extraordinary chapter in his life. As Leon maneuvered his hovercar through the neon-lit streets of Neo-Sydney, he glanced worriedly at the alien, Vela, slumped against the passenger door. Her breathing was shallow, each breath a whisper of pain. Leon's mind raced with possibilities and fears, but his determination to help her remained unwavering. He took the quickest route to his apartment, a modest unit in a quieter part of the city known for its community of students and young professionals. Parking the hovercar in a dimly lit garage, he helped Vela out, supporting her as they made their way to the elevator. Her body felt fragile in his arms, her weight lighter than he expected. Once inside his apartment, Leon laid Vela gently on the couch and hurried to his medical kit. It was basic, intended for human use, but better than nothing. He cleaned her wounds more thoroughly now, applying biosealant, a universal medical adhesive that reacted to biological tissues. It wasn't made for alien physiology, but it was designed to be adaptable. "Why were you in that alley?" Leon asked, trying to distract her from the pain as he worked. "I was escaping," Vela whispered, her eyes closing briefly. "From those who would see my kind captured. Or worse." Leon paused, the gravity of her words sinking in. "Who's after you?" he asked, his voice low. Vela opened her eyes, their deep violet irises flickering with a mixture of fear and resolve. "Bounty hunters," she confessed. "I was a navigator. I know routes through the stars that many would kill to learn." The implications of her words weighed heavily on Leon. He was in deeper than he had initially thought, but backing down didn't seem like an option. "We need to get you to someone who can really help. I have a professor at the university, Dr. Harlan. He knows xenobiology better than anyone." Vela nodded weakly, trusting his decision. Leon helped her to his hovercar again, checking the streets for any unusual activity before they left. As they drove towards the university, Leon kept a vigilant watch on their surroundings. The city was a labyrinth of light and shadow, and danger could lurk in any corner. Halfway to the university, Leon noticed a black, unmarked hovercar tailing them. His heart raced. "Hold on," he said, pressing the accelerator. The car surged forward, slicing through the night. The chase was tense, with the mysterious car mirroring every turn and dodge Leon made. Using his intimate knowledge of the city's layout, Leon took a sudden, sharp turn into an underground tunnel, rarely used at night. The darkness enveloped them, a temporary cloak from their pursuer. Emerging on the other side, Leon didn't slow down until the university's towering structure came into view, a beacon of safety. He drove directly to the secluded back entrance of the research lab, where Dr. Harlan worked late hours. Safely inside the lab, Leon sighed in relief. Dr. Harlan, a man in his late 50s with a wild shock of gray hair and keen blue eyes, met them with a mixture of astonishment and concern. "Leon, what on earth?" he began, then stopped short as he saw Vela. His academic curiosity sparked immediately. "Incredible," he murmured, stepping closer. "Dr. Harlan, she's hurt and being chased by bounty hunters because of what she knows," Leon explained quickly. Dr. Harlan nodded, his demeanor turning serious. "We'll do what we can here, both for her health and her safety." Inside the sterile confines of Dr. Harlan's research lab, Leon watched anxiously as the older man used a combination of human and alien technology to treat Vela's wounds. The machines whirred and beeped, interpreting and adapting to the alien physiology before them. Dr. Harlan, fully engrossed in his work, occasionally muttered to himself, adjusting settings and administering treatments that seemed to ease Vela's pain. "Remarkable," he often exclaimed, peering through his spectacles at the glowing screens displaying her internal biology. "Her cellular structure is unlike anything I've documented before." Viola, now somewhat stabilized, looked up at Leon with a weak smile. "Thank you, Leon. I feel less pain." Leon returned her smile, his worry easing slightly. "Just hang in there, okay? We're going to figure this out." As Dr. Harlan continued his work, Leon pulled up a stool beside Vela. The quiet of the lab was a stark contrast to the chaos of the city outside. "Vela, why were you so far from your world? And why are bounty hunters after you?" Vela sighed, her eyes reflecting the flicker of the overhead lights. "My planet, Glear, is under scrutiny by the Galactic Council for supposedly harboring forbidden technologies. I discovered a star map that reveals shortcuts through hyperspace, paths unknown to the Council. Such knowledge. It's powerful and dangerous." Leon processed her words, understanding the gravity of her discovery. "And they think you're going to sell the information?" "Not sell," Vela corrected. "They think I will share it with their enemies. I was actually trying to bring it to the Council to prove our innocence, but I was betrayed." Leon felt a surge of anger at her betrayal, but also admiration for her courage. "We need to keep you safe then. Dr. Harlan, can we protect her here?" Dr. Harlan, overhearing the conversation, paused his work. "Temporarily, yes, but this facility isn't equipped for long-term security against the kind of forces that might be after her. We'll need a better plan." Just then, the lab security alarm blared, a shrill sound that made them all startle. Dr. Harlan rushed to a console, typing rapidly. "We have a breach," he announced, his voice tense. "Someone's entered the building." Leon felt a chill run down his spine. He had hoped for more time. "What do we do?" "We can use the lab's back exit to escape. There's a safe house not far from here under university protection. It's meant for at-risk researchers and their subjects," Dr. Harlan explained, already gathering some portable medical equipment. Viola, still weak but determined, nodded in agreement. "Let's go." The trio quickly moved through the lab's rear corridors, a maze of gleaming metal and rushing vents. As they neared the exit, the sound of footsteps echoed behind them, quick, heavy steps. Leon looked back, his heart pounding. "They're here." Dr. Harlan pushed a heavy crate in front of the door they'd just passed through, buying them some time. "This way," he urged, leading them through a door concealed behind a sliding panel. The hidden passage was narrow and dimly lit, sloping downwards. They hurried along it, the sounds of their pursuers muffled but still present. After what felt like an eternity, they emerged into the cool night air, a block away from the main university buildings. Leon helped Vela into Dr. Harlan's waiting car, a nondescript vehicle meant for occasions such as this. As they drove away, Leon looked back at the looming silhouette of the university, feeling a mix of relief and foreboding. They were safe for now, but the night's events had irrevocably changed the course of their lives. In the relative safety of the university's safe house, a nondescript apartment nestled within a cluster of similar units, Leon, Vela, and Dr. Harlan took a moment to regroup. The apartment was sparsely furnished, a functional space designed to be forgettable, but it offered them the sanctuary they desperately needed. Dr. Harlan set up a temporary medical station in the living room, continuing his treatment of Vela with a blend of human and alien technology. Leon assisted as best he could, handing tools and supplies, learning quickly under Dr. Harlan's guidance. As the night deepened and Vela's condition stabilized, Dr. Harlan turned to Leon. "You've done well, young man. Not many would have stepped up the way you have." Leon shrugged, uncomfortable with praise. "I couldn't just leave her there," he said, glancing at Vela, who was now resting on a makeshift bed. Vela smiled at him, her strength slowly returning. "Your world, it's both beautiful and terrifying," she murmured. Leon laughed softly. "I could say the same about the universe, from what you've told me." The conversation shifted towards lighter topics as they ate a late meal provided by the safe house's stocked pantry. Vela shared stories of Gleer, describing its vast oceans and towering crystal cities. Her descriptions painted a picture of a world very different from Earth, sparking Leon's imagination and a desire to see such wonders himself. Dr. Harlan, meanwhile, explained more about the political dynamics of the Galactic Council and the precarious position of Earth within it. "We're relatively new to the Council, still proving our worth. Your actions, Leon, and your association with Vela might draw unwanted attention, but also, it could prove beneficial. This is a unique opportunity to strengthen our position." Leon nodded, understanding the implications. He felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders, not just for Vela's safety but potentially for the future of Earth itself. As the night turned into early morning, Dr. Harlan excused himself to rest in another room, leaving Leon and Vela alone. The dim light of dawn began to filter through the curtains, casting a soft glow across the room. Vela sat up, her gaze serious. "Leon, I must tell you something important," she said, her voice low. "The star map I carry, it's not just a map. It's coded with data that could change the power dynamics of the entire galaxy." Leon sat forward, his interest piqued. "What kind of data?" "Locations of lost ancient technologies, some believed to be myths. If the wrong people find it, it could lead to wars, or worse," she explained, her eyes reflecting her fear of such outcomes. Leon reached out, taking her hand in his. "We won't let that happen," he promised. "We'll find a way to use it for good, maybe even to negotiate peace." Vela's expression softened and she squeezed his hand in gratitude. "I believe you, Leon. You've already shown great courage and kindness." Their shared moment was interrupted by the sudden blare of the apartment's security alarm. Leon and Vela exchanged a look of alarm. Once again they had to move, to flee from unseen enemies who were relentlessly pursuing the secrets Vela held. Grabbing a small bag of essentials, Leon helped Vela to her feet. "We need to go now. Dr. Harlan will know a place," he said, determination fueling his actions. The pre-dawn streets were quiet as Leon, Vela, and Dr. Harlan made a swift exit from the safe house. Dr. Harlan led them to another car, parked a few blocks away, his face set in grim determination. "We can't go straight to the university, it's the first place they'll look. We need to find a more secure location." As they drove through the deserted streets of the city, Leon kept an eye on the rearview mirror, vigilant for any sign of pursuit. Vela sat beside him, her expression focused and tense. Dr. Harlan in the back seat was busy making calls on a secure line, arranging their next hideout. Suddenly Leon noticed a black hover car emerging from a side street, accelerating towards them. "Hold on," he warned, swerving sharply as the car closed in. The streets became a blur of motion as Leon pushed their vehicle to its limits, weaving through early morning traffic. The black car was relentless, its driver skilled. It managed to get alongside them and Leon could see masked figures inside, one of them aiming a device at their car. "Get down!" he yelled, just as a beam of intense light shot out, hitting their car's rear. The impact sent their car spinning and Leon fought to regain control. They skidded to a halt in an empty lot, the black car blocking their escape. Leon looked at Vela and Dr. Harlan, his heart pounding. "Out of the car, now!" They scrambled from the vehicle just as the assailants emerged, weapons drawn. Leon, Vela, and Dr. Harlan took cover behind some debris. Leon peeked around, counting at least 4 attackers moving towards them with deliberate steps. "We can't let them take her," Dr. Harlan whispered, handing Leon a small stun gun. Leon nodded, taking a deep breath to steady his nerves. As the attackers approached, he took action. Jumping out from cover, Leon aimed and fired the stun gun, hitting the closest assailant. The man went down, twitching as the electrical charge incapacitated him. Vela, not just a passive participant, threw a small device towards another attacker. It erupted in a dazzling flash of light, blinding the others momentarily. "Go!" she shouted, and they ran across the lot, ducking into a narrow alley. Their pursuers recovered quickly and gave chase. The alley twisted and turned, opening into a network of backstreets that Leon hoped would confuse their followers. They darted through these maze-like passages, the sound of their pursuers' footsteps echoing off the walls. As they rounded a corner, Dr. Harlan directed them into an old maintenance door. "In here," he panted, leading them down a dank staircase into the city's underbelly. The door slammed shut behind them, the echo of their pursuers' frustrated yells fading as they descended deeper. The subterranean world was a forgotten part of the city, filled with old pipes and dimly lit corridors. They moved quickly, Leon helping Vela over obstacles, their adrenaline surging as they navigated the labyrinthine tunnels. After what seemed like an eternity, they emerged in an industrial area, far from their original location. Dr. Harlan led them to a nondescript building. Inside, he finally allowed himself a moment to relax. "This is a research outpost," he explained. "Not officially part of the university, but safe." The industrial research outpost offered a temporary reprieve, a place where Dr. Harlan, Leon, and Viola could plan their next move. The building was surrounded by old factories and warehouses, a part of the city that had seen better days, now serving as a perfect hideout from the relentless pursuit they faced. Inside the outpost, Dr. Harlan accessed a series of monitors, keeping an eye on any potential threats approaching their location. "We're not safe for long," he murmured, analyzing the data streaming across the screens. "They're systematic, sweeping through the city sector by sector." Viola, looking over the maps displayed, pointed to a distant area on the screen. "My ship is hidden there, in an abandoned hangar. If we can reach it, we can leave Earth, escape their reach for good." Leon considered the plan, the thought of leaving Earth stirring a mix of anxiety and excitement. "It's a long shot, but it's our best chance," he agreed, turning to Dr. Harlan for support. The older man nodded, his face etched with concern. "I'll arrange for some distractions, create a false trail leading away from your path." Armed with a plan, they gathered minimal supplies, knowing that speed was crucial. Viola, though still weak, insisted on carrying her share, her determination clear. "Let's move out as soon as we can, under the cover of night," Leon suggested, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. As darkness enveloped the city, the trio slipped out of the outpost, the streets eerily quiet. They moved through shadows, avoiding well-lit areas and any surveillance that could give them away. Their journey was fraught with tension, each sound a potential threat. They navigated through the city's underbelly, encountering various hazards. Old service robots, discarded and malfunctioning, blocked their path at one point, their programming corrupted, making them unpredictably dangerous. Leon managed to rewire one to cause a distraction, sending it clattering down a side alley, its lights and noises drawing the attention of a nearby security patrol. Further along, a gang of scavengers confronted them, drawn by the promise of valuable technology or ransom. Vela revealed another facet of her skills by negotiating with them, using her knowledge of galactic trade to promise them coordinates to a valuable but abandoned salvage site off-planet. Their leader, swayed by the potential riches, allowed them to pass without further incident. Finally, they reached the outskirts of the hangar where Vela's ship was hidden. The area was desolate, the hangar dilapidated, its structure shadowed under the moonlit sky. As they approached, Leon felt a surge of hope. This ship was their ticket to freedom, a chance to escape the relentless chase. However, as they neared the hangar, they saw figures moving in the darkness, bounty hunters, their weapons ready, clearly waiting for them. It's a trap, Leon hissed, pulling Vela back into the cover of darkness. We were so close, Vela murmured, disappointment lacing her voice. Leon looked around, his mind racing for solutions. We'll need a diversion, he decided, eyes scanning the hangar's surroundings. Spotting an old fuel line, he crafted a plan. Cover me, he told Viola and Dr. Harlan. Sprinting to the fuel line, Leon tampered with its valves, setting a timed leak. He returned to his companions and they retreated to a safe distance. Moments later, a fiery explosion rocked the hangar, drawing the bounty hunters towards the blast. Now's our chance, Leon urged, leading the charge towards the ship as their pursuers were distracted. They boarded the ship, Vela quickly powering up the systems. The engines hummed to life, the promise of escape finally tangible as the hangar doors slowly opened to the starry night sky. As Vela's ship ascended into the starry expanse, Leon felt a mix of relief and apprehension. Earth, with all its familiar landscapes and skies, dwindled into a distant point behind them. Ahead lay the vast, uncharted territories of space, and with it, the uncertainty of their future. Vela, now at the controls of her sleek, advanced spacecraft, navigated with practiced ease. The cabin was bathed in the soft glow of instrument panels, casting light on her determined face. Setting course for Cumk, she announced, referring to a remote neutral planet known for its discretion and reluctance to engage in galactic politics. It's a safe haven for those who wish to disappear. Dr. Harlan, looking over a star map, nodded in agreement. A wise choice. Cumk's authorities are not easily swayed by the Galactic Council or bounty hunters. Leon watched the stars blur into lines as they entered hyperspace. The quiet hum of the ship was a stark contrast to the chaos of their recent escape. It gave him time to reflect, to consider the enormity of leaving his world behind, and the new role he had stepped into. No longer just a medical student, but a key player in a galactic drama. During their journey, Vela took the time to teach Leon more about the ship's operations. You have a natural aptitude for this, she complimented, as he managed a complex navigation sequence under her watchful eyes. I had a good teacher, Leon replied, offering her a grateful smile. Their camaraderie had deepened, bound by shared dangers and the secrets they carried. Days turned into weeks. As they approached Cumk, the tension aboard the ship grew. They were entering a system unfamiliar to Leon, one that operated under different rules and customs. Dr. Harlan spent hours briefing them on Cumk's culture and legal intricacies to prepare for their arrival. Finally, the planet appeared in their viewport, a beautiful orb swirling with blues and greens. Vela guided the ship towards a discreet landing area, away from the main spaceports. As they descended, Leon's heart raced with a cocktail of excitement and nerves. Once landed, they disembarked into the lush alien landscape of Cumk. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of exotic flora. The planet was less technologically developed than Earth or Glear, but offered a peaceful natural environment, a stark contrast to the urban sprawl Leon had left behind. They found a small, welcoming community, primarily made up of other galactic refugees and exiles. Vela, with her knowledge of various cultures, negotiated a temporary residence for them. We'll need to stay low, at least until we figure out our next move, she advised. One evening, as they sat watching Cumk's twin suns set in a spectacular display of colors, Leon felt a sense of peace he hadn't experienced in a long time. Maybe we can actually start a new life here, he mused aloud. Vela turned to him, her expression thoughtful. Perhaps, but we still have responsibilities. The information we carry. It's too important to stay hidden forever. We need to find the right allies, make the right moves. Leon understood the weight of her words. Their journey was far from over. It had merely shifted to a new phase. They were fugitives, but also guardians of potentially revolutionary knowledge. We'll figure it out, together, he affirmed, his resolve hardened by the challenges they had overcome. In the lush green expanse of Cumk, Leon and Viola found not just refuge, but a new purpose. The days began to blend into one another, each bringing its own set of challenges and small victories as they adapted to their new surroundings. Leon took to the routines of Cumk life with an eagerness that surprised even himself. He helped local healers learn human medical techniques, integrating his knowledge with their alien methods. The process was fulfilling, giving him a sense of belonging and usefulness that went beyond his initial role as Vela's protector. Vela, meanwhile, used her time to decrypt more of the star map, careful to keep the most sensitive information secure. She worked with Dr. Harlan to contact discreet allies, seeking to build a network that could eventually help them leverage the map's data for peace rather than conflict. Their evenings were often spent at the edge of a small lake, the water reflecting Calem's twin moons. It was during these quiet moments that they planned their strategies, discussed their hopes, and occasionally allowed themselves to dream of a peaceful future. One such evening, as they watched the sky darken and the first stars appear, Vela turned to Leon. "You know, I never expected to find someone from another world who could understand not just the fears of my people, but the hopes too." Leon smiled, his gaze on the horizon. "And I never thought I'd be plotting interstellar strategies, but here we are. I guess life has a funny way of throwing us into the unknown." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Harlan, who approached with a serious expression. "I have news," he announced. "We've been contacted by a representative of the Galactic Council. They're offering a dialogue, a chance to present the star map under conditions of truce." The news was both promising and daunting. Leon looked at Vela, searching her face for her reaction. She was calm, her decision clear in her steady voice. "We'll meet them. It's time to use what we know to advocate for Gleer and for all who seek freedom from fear." Preparations began immediately. They crafted their arguments, rehearsed their presentation, and secured guarantees for their safety. The meeting would take place in neutral space, aboard a diplomatic vessel stationed at the edge of the Calem system. The day of the meeting arrived, cloaked in a mixture of tension and hope. Dressed in formal attire that blended human and Glerian styles, Leon and Vela boarded their ship, the hum of the engines a familiar comfort beneath the weight of the upcoming confrontation. As the diplomatic vessel came into view, a sleek and imposing structure against the backdrop of stars, Leon felt a surge of apprehension mixed with resolve. He glanced at Vela, who gave him a reassuring nod. The negotiations were intense, with representatives from various factions of the Galactic Council present. Leon watched as Vela spoke eloquently about her people, about the potential for peace that the star map represented. Her words, sincere and compelling, gradually won over the room. Hours later, as they left the vessel, an agreement in principle reached, Leon felt a profound sense of achievement. "We did it," he said to Vela, who was visibly relieved. "Yes, we did," she replied, her smile bright under the starlight. "But this is just the beginning, Leon. There's much more to do." Back on Calem, as they resumed their lives, there was a new sense of hope. The agreement with the Council would take time to implement, and their roles as intermediaries had only just begun. But for now, they were content to enjoy the peace of their temporary home. Standing by the lake watching the moons rise, Leon felt a deep connection to the universe and to the paths he had chosen. Beside him, Vela's presence was a constant reminder of the strange, beautiful twists of fate. "Our journey isn't over," Vela said softly, her hand finding his. "But whatever comes, we face it together." Leon squeezed her hand, his heart full. "Together," he agreed, ready for the uncharted stars and the new dawns they would bring.